Here's my take on oil and oil filters. First thing you need to know about doing an oil change is what kind of oil your car takes. You can find this in a couple different ways. First things first, always check your owner's manual. That's going to be the most reliable source. From there, if you don't have your owner's manual, which you should, you can, sometimes it'll be on the cap of the oil, like underneath your hood. There's a little cap, it'll say 1030. From there, if you don't find it in either of those places, you can Google it. Just make sure you're Googling your right vehicle. If that's not working for you and want a little bit more of a reliable source, hopefully, you can go to an auto parts store, have them look it up, and they will tell you how many quarts and of what kind, like what weight oil your vehicle requires. So now that you know what weight oil your vehicle takes, you're going to go over to the wall of oil, which can be overwhelming if you don't know what you're looking for. Look for their house brand. So any kind of auto parts store you go into, whether it's O'Reilly's, CarQuest, AutoZone, Napa, whatever it is, they're going to have a house brand. That house brand is made by another larger oil company and it is 100% okay to use. It's going to be the cheapest option and it is a good oil. So go ahead and grab you however many quarts of that you need. This is whenever, if you have a high mileage vehicle, you can go with the same house brand and a high mileage option, but it's not required, as long as you're doing routine maintenance on it, and you will hear me preaching that in every single episode of this playlist. Routine maintenance is the #1 thing that's going to keep your car running for the longest amount of time possible, obviously. After you grab your quarts of oil, you're going to go up to the counter. They're going to ask you what kind of filter you want. Again, do not feel overwhelmed by this question because you're going to say house brand. The house brand is going to be a perfectly good filter to use. It's going to be the cheapest option, and it's going to be fine until your next oil change. The only difference whenever you're buying these other brands of filters and oil is you're paying for the Mobil 1 or the K&N or the Royal Purple written on the can or the filter. So if you say house brand, the only difference between a house brand filter and a more expensive filter is, again, name brand, and sometimes the microns, the filtration system is a little bit finer. But if you're doing routine maintenance, it really doesn't matter. If you want to go one step farther in this same process, again, let's say you got a high mileage vehicle or maybe even slacking on an oil change or two, the only other thing you can do is you can replace one of your quarts of oil with a quart of an oil additive. I personally use Techron. That's just my preference. They also have it in a bunch of different brands that are like Lucas is great. Lucas is a great brand. So again, replace 1 quart of oil with 1 quart of an oil additive, which again just helps lubricate everything and keep your engine running for longer. The same thing applies to air filters and cabin air filters. Get the house brand. It's going to save you money. The only time you really want to need or step it up in any way is if like you're really wanting to tune your car up and you go fancy with a K&N filter or something. But there's no reason you should ever get talked into a more expensive filter from an auto parts store employee who's just trying to make a couple more bucks off of you. Go with the house brand, get yourself a good deal, and feel really confident about it. So I hope that helps.